Did you know that the US has one of the highest obesity rates out of countries in the world? Epidemiologist Cynthia Ogden wrote in a journal called Prevalence of Childhood and Adult Obesity in the US from 2014 that about a third of adults and 17% of youth were either overweight or obese at the time. Now, this wouldn't normally be an issue if it weren't that obesity is highly linked to a lot of health problems that could either put someone in the hospital or even potentially end up being fatal. That's why the purpose of this speech is to show that as a country, we need to drastically change the eating habits and health practices that we have in the U.S., and potentially even change the food industry to a degree. Furthermore, health expert Bruce Lee wrote in an article called Obesity Epidemic Getting Worse, What Happens When You Don't Get Enough from 2019, that in 2012, not a single state was at the obesity rate of 35% or more. And from the time in his article in 2019, 9 states had actually surpassed that 35% obesity rate, and a lot of states were actually close on the tail to that number. This shows that the situation is definitely getting worse, and we should be concerned about the direction that the country is heading. Now, the problem isn't actually obesity itself. The problem is that with obesity comes a high risk to a lot of health problems. For example, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services mentions in a 2015 article, Health Risks of Being Overweight, that obesity shows links to diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, and more. It's very important, and this, of course, by decreasing this obesity, we can obviously decrease the health problems that come with it in the U.S. that many people are facing or could potentially face. Furthermore, a data brief from the CDC in 2018 talks about from 2013 to 2016, about 1 in 3 adults consumed fast food on any given day in the U.S. That means over 100 million people were either going through a drive-thru or pulling up to a fast food restaurant. And that means there's a lot of leeway, and this number can come down a lot. This is an issue because the fast food industry itself plays a large driving factor in obesity in the U.S. This is because they make massive portions. There actually are drink portions in the U.S. are laughed about by other countries because they have how ridiculously huge they are. And it can be very unhealthy with the amount of sugar that's already in the drinks and food being consumed in a large amount only makes the situation worse. Not to mention the food itself has so much added sugar and preservatives that make it way unhealthier just to make the food taste better and last longer. And it's really not a good sign when a cheeseburger from McDonald's can last over a year without showing any mold or signs of going bad. So overall, increasing health and awareness in the U.S. and decreasing obesity rates would decrease the rate of these side effects that people are facing. Now, of course, it wouldn't be instant, and it would be a long process, but it would be worth it, and it would be, something that would take a lot of effort. But not only would there be these physical benefits to it to people, there's also mental benefits. Now, health journalist Dennis Thompson Jr. wrote in a 2011 article called Depression and Obesity, and he found that being overweight or obese could led to a 25% increase in being depressed. Now, some of this is obviously due to judgment or negativity from society, but some can also be due to just how negative the food itself can make you feel. Now, going on, we obviously need to be more conscious about what we're eating. And I know this might be difficult for some of us because we have meal plans at Riddle, but most restaurants on campus actually provide a lot of healthy options. I know for a fact the refueling station has salads and sandwiches, which are very healthy, as well as yogurts. Qdoba's menu is really strong itself, and specifically at Chick-fil-A, they have a grilled chicken wrap, which has less fat, sugar, and calories, while maintaining more protein, fiber, and vitamins than the regular chicken sandwich. And while I'm not saying you should never eat a chicken sandwich again, or only eat yogurt, or only eat these healthy options, I'm just saying that it should be a trend that we should set by incorporating these into our diets to slowly improve the eating habits of the U.S. and stopping this trend of increasing obesity for future generations. Furthermore, to prove this overall idea and attempt to make a healthier U.S.